Just like, well, I'm surprised they
No, she's recording this now.
Okay, if everybody will quiet down, we'll go ahead and get started.
He's like you, he said.
I'll let you know that this is actually an informal meeting. I don't call it a meeting, we call it Mayor's Town Hall meeting, but there is no agenda. I will mention that one conversation at a time. If it gets out of hand, then we will end. That's about all the rules I'm gonna have. But I'm gonna start out, first thing, as most of you, or some of you know, these meetings were started back in October for Mayor's Town Hall meeting. This was mainly for the residents to have opportunity to come out, voice their opinions on what they saw as needs in the town. And it was great. We had anywhere from 10 to 15 people would come out to the meetings, and a lot of ideas would come up, whether it was we needed more stop signs, more lights in a development, or even talked about speed bumps and that kind of stuff. A lot of that information was taken back to the council. Council, it was put on the agenda, and a lot of those items got approved. So they were very good meetings. They're still good meetings if we use it for what it's supposed to be. And it was never intended to be, these meetings was never set up to be a data center meeting, but I'm sure that's what a lot of you are here for, and we'll leave that open for conversation also. Just be courteous of each other's comments, whether you like them or not. Everybody's got their own opinion. So with that, we're going to start out. How many in here want to talk about things going on in Rural Hall other than data center? Okay, those will be the first on the list, because like I said, that's what these meetings were set up for. I'll go ahead and start back there.
My name's Woody. I live in Rural Hall. James Woodard, I go by Woody. It's formal, informal, however it's fine. I was reading through on the Facebook post for this meeting, just reading through like some of the odd and end comments that were in there. One of the things I read that I wanted to ask about, just because I wanted to hear the answer, was people had some concerns and unspecified traffic laws not necessarily being enforced as well in Rural Hall as others. I'm curious as to what those concerns are, who's responsible for enforcing them, and is the problem as real as perceived?
Okay.
I know it's like.
Can I ask you what, is that on the town's Facebook page you're reading this? Or?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's, let me just try, yes, we've got Vargas back here. I might refer to him a little bit, but we have had some concerns brought up about speeding on Broad Street. For instance, we just had a traffic study on Broad Street. It was just concluded probably about a month or so ago. We went over those results at our previous council meeting. It was determined that speed on limit, we were looking from where the town limits start down at Main Street, Lawn and Garden, hopefully was going to go to a 35 zone. It was found that there was no reason to change that, and that's the DOT, not the town of Rural Hall. We don't regulate speeds on DOT highways. In the neighborhoods we do. We have reduced speeds in some of the neighborhoods. For instance, over at the park, it was dropped from 35 to 25. Are they patrolled? Yes, they are. I won't share the name, but I got a call from someone who wanted to know if we could do anything about one they got on Broad Street a couple of weeks ago. Absolutely not. You're running 60 in a 35, you're probably gonna get a ticket and there won't be a thing in the world you can do about it. So yes, it is being patrolled, and it is concerns that come up numerous, that, different neighborhoods have different, problems with speeding. We have, basically, at this time of day, we have one officer on duty that's here for the town of Rural Hall. He can't be in every place, but I can assure you, actually the other day, I think I saw one up at the post office, I've seen one down at the cemetery. One was over in the construction area, and I think that's probably because you can get really fined for speeding over there. So it does happen, they do go through the neighborhoods, I can't give you the exact count. We do get a traffic report every monthly, it tells how many citations were written and all that.
And this is for Side County Sheriff's Department.
Yes, and we contract with, we have 5 deputies that work for the town of Rural Hall. We pay for that, contract service.
Any younger in here, thank you
Yes.
all. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes,
All right, thank you, sir.
okay. Who? Somebody?
I want to
Oh.
say that the new four-way stop sign, people are finally getting used to it. Since they put up the little signs,
Okay.
we see less automobiles and trucks running the stop sign. Now, these little four-wheelers, these unlicensed, untagged, no
Dirt
helmets, little motorized bikes. They think
Still-
that means fly through there.
Okay.
I'm just afraid one of them's gonna wind up dead, or seriously injured, or they're gonna cause someone else to have a wreck. I mean, and it comes and goes.
Hard to catch.
Yes, the other day one flew through the intersection, and one of our nice deputies was sitting down at the bottom of the hill. He was part of the way down that hill, turned into someone's driveway, and made this huge U-turn, still standing up on it, with his little cell phone, texting someone to let them know not to come.
Or that way anyway.
And they probably got away, right?
They did.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because they're, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not allowed to chase them, four-wheelers and, off-road motorcycles, you can't really chase them if they're running.
It all depends on the situation, just like a violent crime, we're allowed to chase them, but like for a general traffic violation, like we're not gonna chase.
My main concern is, I was always taught when I was riding a bicycle, or even mini bikes and stuff like that if you were on the highway, you were expected
Follow the
to
rules.
follow the rules of the highway. And they are blatantly ignoring them.
Parent issue.
Mm-hmm.
Allowing it, and some of them have been caught, and some of them have been pretty much scared,
Yeah.
on that. And it slowed it down a little bit, but they're getting brave again.
Yeah.
They're getting brave again. And they're watching. When I say they're watching, they come through there, but it's like anything else.
Yeah, you just gotta be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I've actually videoed a couple of them going down.
Yeah, I have to do copping wheelies through the park,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So that's the topic we're talking, I talked to the deputy last time we were here for a town council meeting, I can tell you where some of them are actually coming from. There's a house at the corner of Tobaccoville Road and Circle Drive.
Okay.
It's on Tobaccoville, it's the second house that sits, a little small one that sits up on the hill, and he's got a blue Mustang. I ended up calling the Sheriff's Department about 2 weeks ago, cause he came down Circle Drive off of the dirt road on Circle Trail and lit it up all the way down Circle Drive into the intersection. If you go up there, there's still a black box where he did donuts right there in the center of Circle Drive, Tobaccoville Road, and shot back up the street past my house in the Duke Powers parking lot. I took pictures of it, took pictures of his tag, sent it to the Sheriff's Department. They went and knocked on the door, and of course the woman that lives there said, well, he don't live here. Him and his kid ride up and down Circle Drive all day long. They have for a while. It's been about 2 weeks since one of the neighbors called Duke Power and said, hey, these guys are jumping dirt bikes up behind you. But, he actually came flying up the street today, and his son's living out dirt bike. That's where they come from. Some of them, they live right there in that house at the top of the street. And, typically on weekends, nonstop. But that's where some of them are coming from. He got 2 kids, they got 4-wheelers, popping wheelies out in the yard, they drive them up and down the street, so, just info.
Okay. You were listening back there, right? We're telling on all these kids where they're at.
What's the rules on things like golf carts, quads, ATVs? dirt bikes?
ATVs and 4-wheelers, they're off-road vehicles. They're not supposed to be on the road. Golf carts, we do have a golf cart ordinance in town, anywhere 35 mile an hour, but you still have to be a licensed driver. Supposed to be.
Yes.
But they are allowed at, any posted speed limit of 35 or below.
Okay. I didn't know that. Glad I asked.
With the golf carts, what if they have to cross a 45-mile road to get to the 25? Is that allowable?
Technically, probably not. I can't say for sure, but I doubt they would be stopped for doing that, just crossing the road.
Going back to that part where we don't get to regulate the DOT highways, do we get to ask?
Yes, we can submit, just like we did the, study on Broad Street. We had to request that, and they did that for us.
So just for me, would we show up if I wanted us to do that, would I come ask the town council, hey, can we do that?
You would, you could request it through DOT, probably it would, may move a little further if we requested, right, Homer?
I'm sorry?
Who knows? But yes, I would say, you can request that, but, or ask, ask the council to do it. If it, but, the council's gonna end up voting whether they're gonna do it or not. It would be a vote from the council, whether to request the DOT for a traffic study.
Well, I mean, we've done the study, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we wanted them to lower it, we would just be asking them to lower it?
They decide whether it's gonna be lowered.
Okay, so we can't ask
No,
them.
no.
The
We
study was us
were
asking.
requesting the traffic study because the intent was to lower the speed
Okay.
limit. And they came back with a traffic study and basically said it was an enforcement. And what they do is just check speeds at different times and it's a whole full report that
Okay.
they do. And that's only on DOT highways. Some of the neighborhoods in our town.
I didn't know if we had a mechanism where we could ask them, like, we're not telling you to put it down, we're just asking if you would. I mean, if the study is the no, then that's fine.
Yeah, yes. Once the study's done.
That's no.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, speaking of traffic management, I'm gonna call it Academy Highway still, not Academy Street,
Okay.
okay? Just to press the point home. In the last 2 weeks, I haven't seen any patrols out on Academy Street from 5 to 7 p.m. And I had a recent conversation with Captain Joyner again, at the Sheriff's Department, about a week and a half ago. He looked at the DOT traffic report for Academy Street at the end of the last year. He took a second look at it, and he said that something like 85% of the traffic was found to be speeding, going above 25 miles per hour on Academy Street, which, by the way, there's a lot of golf carts out there too, ATVs, off-road vehicles, but he said if 85% of the traffic is found to be speeding, going above the speed limit, I think the traffic report said the average speed is 40, 15 above the speed limit. You could request speed bumps. So, but I also have a question about resources. And this is no knock on the sheriff's department. I don't want to be misconstrued. At what point do you feel that the town would be better served with their own police department? In other words, is 5 sheriff deputies adequate for our policing needs and requirements?
Is that a question for me?
Yes.
Well, it's like anything else. It's money.
Yeah, I
But
understand.
if we, and we've looked at just numbers before, 1 cent tax is about 70,000, 1 penny brings us 70,000. If we went to a police department in-house, you can probably look at another $1 million. It would cost us about the same as probably running the fire department, to run an in-house police department. A lot, and that's why you see a lot of the municipalities are contracted, not just, Wanaco, which is smaller than us, Louisville, Clemens, all they contract with the sheriff's department because of the cost. And it's just not the cost of having the cars and all, but the training, the equipment. To have 5, if we wanted 5 full-time in here just to, just throwing numbers out there, we'd have 5, you're probably gonna have to have 9 because they're gonna be in training so much, and, you'd probably have to have 9 compared to the 5 we would. It's a matter of money and management. I mean, just a quick, what's that, 10 times 7, 12, 13 cents more, 14 cents more to, on your tax rate? I don't think nobody's gonna go for that.
Would we have better coverage for traffic enforcement with 1 more
If you-
deputy going into the early evening hours?
Oh, the more deputies you have, you spread them out. It's just like I said, we've got 1 here now, and if he was over in the neighborhood over there, and and I just did get a note from Corporal Collins, told him, he ticketed someone last Thursday for 15 miles an hour over the speed limit on Academy Street. So some are being ticketed, and that was just handed to me, so.
What time of day was that?
He didn't say what time of day. He just said ticketed someone last Thursday for 15 miles an hour over the speed limit on Academy Street.
Because I keep looking from the 5 to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
witching hour down there.
Well, it wouldn't have been Corporal Collins
I don't
at
see
that time.
anybody. Yeah, I understand.
And I hear where you're coming from. I mean, there's a lot of days that I don't, or it could be a couple of days, I may not see an officer ride by my house. But if I go back and look at my Ring camera, there went one up the road. But, you don't see them a lot of times. And I know they're circling the neighborhoods and doing that. But, right now, on the night shift, you got 1.
Is that adequate?
It's
Not
been
just right
questioned.
now, but
It
going
was
forward.
even questioned in this room, at an earlier meeting that, crime is down and we're probably spending too much money on the sheriff's department. So, to answer that question, it's a matter of opinion.
Okay. Trash cans, lids, brought that up, I don't know, a little while back, a little bit after they were first issued out to the residents. They hold water on top, and then they got the gaps on the sides, so all the fly build up. I miss the old waste management trash cans. I know that sounds nitpicky, but for what it's worth. And then hazmat. Any possibility down the road, we could get a hazmat processing station, so I don't have to drive down to the city?
Y'all gonna protest real quick, he's just wanting to raise your taxes, come on. Anything's possible if we want to spend enough money. I can tell you, we're operating, try to pass a budget on Monday. Hopefully you'll come out and you'll see we're operating pretty tightly to keep the tax rate at where we're at. Without,
We're at the break-even point right now.
well, I'm not saying we're not at break even. I don't know what the break even point is.
Surplus deficit.
We can raise the taxes, that's, you know, when you talk about more services, you're talking about more money, and that's more taxes, that's where that's how you get the services.
Right, so I was expecting that. I'm asking for more and more, so I know my mill rate will go up probably. I was expecting that, not to diminish your response or in any way,
Yeah,
shape, manner, or form.
okay.
Just, those are the fresh issues in my coconut. Thanks for listening.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else wanna speak on
I
things
just
in
wanted to address, I like the new company. The old company forgot us probably about 15 times last year. So the new company, I love them. They're there at 6 o'clock in the morning, they pick our garbage up. If there's, I've never noticed there any water, but, I mean, that happens. We haven't had much rain. Addressing with the police department, I did that, I'm a retired police officer. I did that for over 25 years. And I was a traffic enforcement officer, and, he can't be everywhere, but he's patrolling, and the number one complaint in any city is traffic, period. Certain areas are very difficult to enforce. I'm sure they're out there, and enforcing that. We all would love them to be on our street, but unfortunately, he's gotta go around. Maybe a state trooper, I've seen him out on Broad Street.
Yeah.
That's a state highway, you know, obviously, you can't, when they do a survey there were some like that. And it's for Florida traffic. There's a lot going into that, but, I'm happy with you guys. And, the cost of running your own police department, astronomical. So, the best way for us as residents of Louisville is to contract with the sheriff's department.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I have a comment about the police, okay? I know that they're gonna cost money, but in the day and time we're living, we need them. And we need to look at that budget, and we used to do it all the time at the schoolhouse. And you'd have to cut here, and you'd have to cut there, and you'd have to cut here. And the police are we have to have them. To me, they are the best thing that we can have in this town. Because some of the things that we don't know is coming, you know, we might really need them. And, you know, it's one thing about speeding, but what else do they do? You know, we gotta really look at that. What else does the policeman do? He keeps us safe. So, you know, we need safety. And, I know the fire department is an important thing, but in this day and time, we have to have safety. And we need to look at the police, and we need plenty of police in this town. So, I mean, that's just my feelings.
Okay. I can tell you, each officer is about 3 cents on the tax rate.
Well, that's why you gotta look at that budget. You gotta put it up here.
And we
You
do.
gotta look, you gotta look.
We do.
Where can we cut?
We do.
Are we paying this too
Yeah.
much?
And
You
you-
gotta look at the whole thing.
We do. Believe me. I spent about 4 hours looking at it Sunday up here, getting ready for this, meeting, next Monday, I guess, whenever it is. It's pretty tight.
For me, for next year, when we talk about budget and stuff, where do I get the information, or are there any public workshops where we can come and hear
Yes.
back and forth how that's gonna go?
Absolutely. We've already had, 1, 2 meetings, we're getting ready, next Monday is, we will have, a public meeting before the budget is approved. So that'll be open for public comments at that time before the council approves the budget. But we've already had a budget workshop earlier,
Okay.
before this was presented to us.
And we're approving the new,
I think it's in March. Yeah, it's usually in March.
all right, so that's fairly routine then?
Yes, oh, yes,
And posted to the Facebook page, I'd imagine?
yes.
All right, thank you.
Or
It's not-
website.
It's on the town's website.
Yes.
There's a copy in the main office if you wanna view that, but it's on the town's.
So I wasn't so
website,
one at the library too, isn't it?
And at the library.
Yes.
Oh, I'm at the library all the time. All right, thank you.
Advertising of the meeting.
Do what now?
Woody, were you asking about the advertising of when that meeting occurs?
Right,
for
like
the
where
workshop?
would I find that and when would that happen?
Yes.
So, like, I mean, just go to the library, one of the librarians would know,
When the meeting is,
or when that information's posted, or?
That would be posted either on the website, it's posted, actually, it'd be posted on the marquee out here for the,
Okay.
work, also.
and on our Facebook.
And also
Okay.
on the Facebook.
Meetings are always posted then.
Yeah,
Excellent,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay. All right. Who wants to be first? Nobody wants to be first, let me be first. I'm gonna address a couple of things, being the mayor's town hall meeting, I wanna address a couple of things before we get started in this, because a lot of it is, concerning the data center as far as information that's been posted. And the reason I ask if you got that from our town page, but obviously there's a lot of stuff being put on Facebook and it's going back and forth and, some of it quite interesting. I'm trying to use the politically correct words. But, the only problem I have with some of the things, and I know I'm gonna get slammed here, but let me get through my piece, because I'm gonna talk one at a time, is, misinformation. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit or a whole big thing. A lot of misinformation gets out there, and, I'm gonna go back to a few months, and I'm not on Facebook. Everything I get is screenshot and sent to me, and I get a lot of it, and some of the stuff is printed out for me. But a few months ago, I'm calling, and without calling your name, you know who I'm talking about, because it is your Facebook page. But you had made a comment, about I wouldn't sign an unaffiliated candidate's petition. Okay? And you made the comment, really, Carol? That's absolutely not true. There was somebody standing beside me when you asked that question. My response was, not at this moment, and if Sebastian is here later and asks, I will sign it.
You were on the
You went on
recording.
to say,
You were
no,
recorded.
well, then pull the recording out,
Okay.
because I never said really. And that would mean you're calling someone else a liar also. I responded that elected official, he would be supporting democracy and all that, and I heard all that, and you even said I signed Susan Gordon. Well, Susan approached me, and I signed hers. And I told you my exact words, I will sign it later, and your exact words were, he will be here later on, he's working. He didn't come that night. Okay, that's a little miscommunication. But if you're gonna say it's exact, that's all I ask. You can call me out on anything, because most people know if I said it, I will repeat it again. Now, I just wanted to clear one more thing. And then we'll move in, because I'll get to hear a lot about this stuff and from other people. Because I get called out on a lot of stuff, and I don't mind getting called out for saying something. You know, I had mentioned at the beginning of the first meeting that we had, the first meeting for the data center, I called that meeting. It was, not requested that I call it. I had already, we had gotten information about the data center. I put a meeting together before anybody else even thought about a meeting. But a couple of days before that meeting, the Montrose group had one at the library, which was about 60-some people that, could attend. I had already stated that we would have a mayor's, it was an extra meeting for that month just to handle the data center comments because it was new to all of us. I put that out. That first meeting, I made a couple comments and I was accused of schooling, you know, whatever it was. And I made some of those comments to state that you're going before the county planning board, and I would suggest getting your facts together, not just going down there screaming and hollering. Now, and that's kind of what I said. Well, I got accused of schooling for that, and that's okay. But I still suggest that if you're going down there. But I got some emails, and I made a comment at one of the meetings, you know, I got emails, and some of them just wasn't very pretty. Well, I was quoted on Facebook as saying that I said they were annoying. Sounds like a little bitty thing. Not true. I didn't say that. It was questioned many times. You know, somebody went back and looked at the recording. All our meetings are recorded also. And that was not true. I said they were not very nice. And then I reminded everybody all email recordings, voicemails that I get are public information. You know how many emails I get now? Not many. I wonder why. Okay? I'm gonna read a couple things. I won't tell the name, but I just wanna read an email that I got because I almost laughed when I got it. It said something, and I'm not gonna read the whole thing, as I stated in my last email, the majority of the town you represent is opposed to the data center. At that moment, it was one of the first meetings. I can't take that. I represent the whole town. I made a comment that I would not sign a petition because I was gonna stay neutral in it and find out more information. I got slammed all over Facebook for that. It is also stated, and this is the one that I almost had to laugh, I have shook more hands and more people in our community this week than I bet you have in the term of office. It's almost laughable. I probably shook more hands at Rural Fest in the first 2 hours than this person shook hands in ever how many years here. But why I'm saying that is, now there's people for the data center, believe it or not. The group that's against it is gonna say it's not. It's not really laughable. I've told you I go by facts, and you know, comments or rumors unless it's facts that goes with it. I think I heard we probably had over 3,500 come through the town for Rural Fest and our cruise in out here. And this is honest to God truth. I had one person in 2 days that came to me personally against the data center. I have no reason to lie. I approached one because I saw a sign and it happened to be right across from where the JC's tent was, and I was approached by that person, and they looked at me and said, "Oh, you're the mayor. I'm glad you made it out today." Obviously, that person wasn't from town because I make it out to all the events. And they had a big data center, no data center there. He never questioned me about the data center or nothing. Now I want to address another thing since I'm talking about the Rural Fest. I've been slammed all over Facebook because I think I made a comment, or I was asked at the Republican Party if I would make a comment. Now, we had requests for, political events at the Rural Fest. There's 66 candidates running on the ballot this fall. 66 candidates for Forsyth County. Made a decision, you couldn't turn this into a political, situation. So the Democratic Party and the Forsyth Republican Party were invited to be there. And that was, they could be there, their candidates could come if they wanted to, in their own area. Right across from where I was sitting was the Democratic Party, on the other end was Republican Party. Everybody had their candidates. We are partisan elections here in town now, if you didn't know. That started last year. I don't agree with it. I don't think there's nothing partisan about being in a small municipal government, but it is. And so you file either running Republican, Democrat, or unaffiliated. That's the party that whoever runs chooses. Now, I did stop at the Republican Party, as some of them in here stopped at the Democrat Party. That's okay. That's what they're there for. That's your party. I don't know why that's a big issue on your Facebook page, but it was. I'm not gonna read all the comments and stuff. I just thought I'd address it. This is the mayor's town hall meeting, so I should address it.
Would you like some input there?
Do what now?
We were told that there was no political people allowed.
Oh, yeah.
So that was why we didn't understand.
Okay.
So when you say there can't be any political parties there, and then there's political parties there, that's some confusion there, so.
Okay, and I'll take that as, because I had heard a little bit about that too, that, there was some confusion there. It was that it was only gonna be the major parties invited and not individuals, is how it should have been stated. All right, anyway, I guess what I'm saying is, let's be nice to each other. There's nothing wrong with being nice. You can disagree with me, and a lot of you do. And that's okay. If I was making everybody happy in this room, I'd be doing a lousy job, I can tell you that. That's the way I always looked at, my customers. If every one of them loved me, it meant, I probably wasn't doing a good job because nobody's that great. But I get calls all the time from people that don't post on your pages, all the negative stuff, and they just can't believe the stuff that's going on. I'm gonna refer to one other thing, and then we're gonna move, and I'm gonna let y'all talk and criticize me any way you feel. I'd rather you do it here than I have to read all this stuff, and that's why I'm trying to find one, because there's one that I really want to bring to the attention. At our last meeting, I made a comment, and I'll make that comment. My whole intent is to let everybody speak who wants to speak. I don't have a time limit on this meeting. It probably, if it gets to be the same old thing back and forth, we may. But last week, at the meeting, I was walking out of here. Someone asked me, I made a comment, we'll stay here as long as you want to. Okay? And I said, I was here at 12:01 one night. Wow, I didn't know that would make front page of the Facebook page. As I was walking out, someone asked, what kept you here to midnight? What kept you here until midnight? And I said, talking. That's correct. And the person said, 2, question mark. And it said, the next part was the part that said, pretty much responded, none of your business. That's not what it said, Carol. What I said was, it's getting a little personal. And you stated, and it in town hall. I never said I was in the town hall, I said I was here. Matter of fact, it was in the parking lot. As a matter of fact, it was really nobody's business who I was in the parking lot talking to. But then, to put the worst part to it, there was a whole big write-up on why they felt that I was probably in the parking lot, was because I was out there discussing how I should retaliate against someone that said something that I didn't like. And that was absolutely, I don't get it. And the only reason, and I'm not crying, I mean, I think, sometimes I think it's just a joke. But, and I'm answering this question because you put it bold and red. What I would like to know is, were you in the town hall until midnight after the town hall meeting, plotting how to get back at a citizen that spoke their piece and question your actions in this chamber, and question if you would be properly reprimanded for violating your oath and the code of ethics? Were you in the town hall working out a way to slap back at a citizen for speaking the truth when they question your behavior and whether you would receive a censorship? I quit playing middle school games years ago. That's my answer. Okay, now we'll move forward. All right, Carol?
You say you're not on Facebook, but how many meetings have you brought up Facebook? Have you brought up and discussed citizens and what they say? That's social media. People can say whatever they want on it.
Exactly.
And you're awfully concerned about it, though, bringing it here into the
I'm
town.
concerned with the,
I'm talking right now, Mayor.
well, it's my meeting.
But I didn't interrupt you.
Yeah, I'm just making sure you know where
It's
we're
our
standing.
meeting. You're holding a town hall meeting for the citizens of Rural Hall.
See, you're gonna get the last word, no matter what. Go ahead.
But do you want us here?
Yeah, do you wanna hear our?
If I hadn't opened this up, I wouldn't have, I opened this meeting up for you.
Then may I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
So, as long as you continue to bring Facebook up into regular town council meetings, when you speak against citizens at town hall meetings, when you violate your oath of office by doing that, we are not allowed to say things you've said when we come up at public comment, but I'm finishing.
Go ahead.
But to bring that into here and to not be held accountable when you violate, but then you slap back at citizens by either trying to criminalize, make an ordinance against something they did that did not exist, as in the, yes. So you are abusing your power, that you were elected to serve the people, to listen to the people. And it doesn't matter what people say on Facebook. You say you don't read it, but you pay a lot of attention to it. And it should be brought into our town hall meetings. If you want to discuss it here, this is more appropriate, but when you discuss it out.
That's why I have.
But why are you, that it's not mayorly. It is not respecting the position you're in to discuss this in front of the citizens. And that's my piece.
I mean, everybody's got their opinion. And I'll tell you what. It doesn't matter. All I said, tell the truth. Don't mislead them.
I said, if it's an opinion, I can have an opinion. You
Okay.
cannot govern my opinion. You cannot govern my freedom of speech.
I can't govern you whether you're telling the
If you want
truth
to
or
talk,
not. You're
I'm
exactly
not telling
right.
a lie.
What do you call it? But anyway.
She asked if that's what you were doing. She
I
didn't
surmised.
say it was a statement.
Could this
It's
be
not a
why?
fact.
The timeline followed.
So you read my mind and said I said it was
I'm
none of your
asking.
business. No, you
No,
said
you
that I
said,
said.
I didn't think it was appropriate to actually say what you said when you were standing right here. To me, after you said you had been here twice in that meeting, till 12:05.
Okay. Carol,
in our town hall.
you're exactly right. And you know, I would never discuss about us sitting out front for over an hour and talking about stuff either. But why would you, you know, it's a no-win situation where you're exactly right. Your
Well,
opinion.
unless we agree.
Unless
It's a
we
no-win
agree, and we
situation.
never will, as, you know, you know that, you know that. But I will say that's not true, because I think I even made the comment, when we were sitting and having, not a town chat, that, God, Carol, you're kind of funny. You remember, you know, in a casual conversation we were having? That was kind of fun. You were being fun.
I am enjoying it, because
Okay.
this is business, that is why, this is not social, this is business, it's a town business, when we're here gathered. And it's to discuss the issues of our town, how we spend our taxpayer, the money we put in, and what services we need.
All right, go ahead.
I hate to use the word Facebook in this question. But I'm about to use it like 8 times. Of the information that you received from Facebook, screenshots and the like, of the whole, how much is solicited versus how much is not? Of what is solicited, whom is providing it? And who is monitoring this to be provided? And is that a paid gig?
Great question.
Let me go back. Are you asking who monitors this Facebook page, or what?
I'm asking kind of a couple things. So you get information from Facebook somehow, like
Yeah,
people.
screenshots and
people-
send it.
Right, that kind of thing.
Yes.
If you got 100 of them,
Mhm.
how many of them did you ask for?
I don't ask for any of them. They
Okay.
just come to me.
Okay. So that would answer the question, then you are not paying someone to send you that information. Therefore
Absolutely
not
not.
soliciting. Okay. Just a couple high-level things.
It's just part of being the face of the town.
I get it.
I need to see what's going on.
I get it. I totally get it. Thank you.
Okay. Do what?
So maybe they're unpaid monitors.
Oh, there's a lot of people that look at it. I've made that clear before. There's a lot of people that look at that page.
Is there a way to control content on the town's Facebook page?
On the town.
This becomes a moot issue? Like
This
a
is not on the
non-issue?
town page.
Yeah, well, the town has a Facebook page, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and, I was just wondering if there's a way to control content that's put on it.
No, we don't have a problem on the town Facebook page.
I'm just brainstorming.
Mayor,
Yeah.
school of government, the town page cannot be censored. It cannot, you cannot change that, because that would be a violation of open records law. So
Never.
changing it.
Well, we're
But what
not
he's
gonna
asking by
change.
censoring or any of that
Yeah.
would be illegal.
Yeah. Okay.
For what it's worth, I love the town of Royal Hall, just the way it is. I'm for the data center, mainly because I think that's the best thing that's gonna keep Royal Hall, Royal Hall. Yeah, laugh all you want to, man, that's fine, don't hurt my feelings. But something's gonna go on that land at some point. It can either be a data center that doesn't require a lot of maintenance, the maintenance is privatized, doesn't have a lot of employees. It could be a multitude of other things, another subdivision, shopping, retail space, trucking hub. The owners could turn it into a hog farm or a chicken farm. I'm sure people would bitch about that too. Anybody that's driven to the beach knows that that stinks to high heaven. I'm sure we all want that.
Okay, all right. We don't want this to end before anybody gets too much. Go ahead.
So, for what it's worth, in my opinion, that's the number one thing. And we're sitting here talking about tax money and tax revenue and not having enough money for police. I think it'd be crazy if somebody had something that generated a absolute shit ton, pardon my French, of tax money. And people can say what they want about they get a tax break for building it. That happens with any business on the planet to attract them to the area.
Do it in your backyard, my friend. This is ridiculous.
They attract them to the area by giving them tax breaks to do the construction, and then they tax the crap out of them once they're here. So there's a multitude of places like the state of Ohio that's big in data centers, Memphis, Tennessee is big in data centers, Central Tennessee is big in data centers, and the towns and municipalities there are reaping the benefits, and they've worked with the municipalities and the county governments to make sure that the people and companies that are there are stewards of the citizens there. So,
Our
from my
county
opinion,
bankrupted
what
the
it's
schools.
worth, people can say what they want to, I'm
Thank
for
you.
the data.
As a teacher.
Okay, now, you don't wanna see the bad side of me. I will try to keep this meeting, let everyone talk. And I will keep going. And you, okay, let me get the one back in the very back. It's been waiting. It's you.
I'm just saying, do any of you guys support abortion rights, your body, your choice?
I had to register for the draft, they didn't ask about my body.
Okay, I'm not talking to you, I'm just asking someone that can talk back to me, I'm not the last person. If you think that people can do whatever they want with their body, and that's their choice, then the people that own the land, they can do what they want, because it's also their choice. It's their body, their life, their land.
I'm sorry, girl, that rolled back ages ago.
Yeah.
That rolled real deep.
But why, so it's whatever, people can do whatever they want with their body until it's something that you don't like. That's what you're saying.
That's the opposite. Right, that's what's so.
Okay.
So you, I mean, that makes no sense. You're so mad at these people, you protest that people should be able to kill babies and do whatever they want, but then you want to protest that people can't sell the land. You want people to do whatever they want to do.
All right, well, yeah, I know you've been, go ahead.
Okay, you're talking about people having rights to do something, they should think about other people. Money's not everything, you know what I'm saying? I know, you would probably do it, but I wouldn't do it, okay? I wouldn't do it to the town, I wouldn't do it to my
All
neighbors.
right, one,
No, I
yeah,
would not do it.
let her say her piece.
I would not,
If you wanna sell that, leave land around your house.
I would not do it.
The last
because
time, that's fine.
You
That's
already
what you,
said what you said, now let me
I was still
talk.
talking and you're
Don't
not
talk to me.
All right,
You
wait,
was done.
okay.
I wasn't.
She was done and it was my turn.
I wasn't done. I didn't
Hey, it's my turn, you told me to talk, right? And I'm not done.
All right, when
Now
she,
tell her to
all
shut
right,
up.
you told her to shut up?
Well, tell her to shut up
Oh,
so I
God.
can talk.
Well, let me,
She's done
let,
said what she said, let me say I'm not done.
all right,
Okay, folks, I'm sorry, I'm a mindfulness teacher, and in my classes, we practice a lot of mindful listening and mindful speaking. And so if you don't mind me to briefly tell you that I really appreciate to hear different opinions. So I thank you for voicing that, because it must be hard for you. I can tell you're very emotional. This cuts very close to your heart, and I respect you for speaking your mind, and especially if you know you might be in an environment that is a little bit hostile.
It is
to
true,
you.
you're acknowledging that, because
So-
it's my family.
all right,
that-
I'm
So
gonna
it's
call
your
the
family,
meeting
so
back.
I totally honor that, and I want you to know that I understand your strong feelings. If we are here as adults, then I would also suggest that we honor differences and we listen to each other. So your point of view is that a property owner has all the right in the world to make decisions about their property.
Right, without being bullied by adults, by being threatened by adults. The last time I was here, people came in on this side and were like saying derogatory things to people on this side. Like, there's no need to do that. You can be upset, you can not want change, but there's no reason to sit here and tell me to shut up. That's delusional.
Sometimes when we have very strong emotions, the emotions can really, in a way, make us feel like we are not being heard. So I think everybody in the room really appreciated that you had the courage to speak. Same the gentleman, there was a head, I really appreciate that you took the space and tell us how you felt about it. And so thank you for that, thank you for that. And so I think this lady in the white t-shirt, we haven't really heard what you were saying.
Let me call,
Is she the manager?
it's come back, it has come back to me now. I'm gonna tell you that one conversation at a time, I will let everybody speak their piece, but let's try to have one conversation. I'm gonna let you finish and,
Okay, if it was my land, though, I would not sell it, and because of my neighbors, I wouldn't do it, I don't care how much money it was, I wouldn't do it for the town of Rural Hall, and that's the way I feel about it.
okay?
Now, that's me, money's not
Carol.
everything.
First,
Buddy,
the town, we are not opposed to the land being sold. The land right now says RS9, RS20. The land can be sold all day that way without our input. To rezone brings it into the community as a community discussion, because by rezoning it, it changes the characteristic and how the town functions. That's why we do have a voice there. If the property owner wants to sell the land as it is zoned now, no one's gonna say anything. Well, someone will say something, or someone always says something. But as a whole, we don't care. Sell it RS9, RS20 all day, and we're fine. The problem is that at the point, by the laws established in our country, in our county, and in this municipality, if you want to do rezoning, you have to get the voice of the people, and that's everyone that it will affect. And that's why we do have a say. However it goes, one way or the other, everyone gets to voice. If you're in support of changing the rezoning, voice it. If you're not, voice it. And that's why we have a say. Sell it straight right now and everyone's quiet, because that's how it works.
Exactly, and I'll agree with you there, Carol. Everybody should have a voice. And
Oh, Mayor, we're gonna have to put this down. You're agreeing with Carol?
Is it 7:59?
Meeting adjourned.
We gotta call it.
I got my red pen. Okay, now. All right.
I actually agree wholeheartedly with Carol.
Oh, so.
And I'm not against anyone that is against the data center. I'm not against you as people. I think that a lot of what I've seen from the handful of meetings that I've sat here listening to is people are saying a lot of, if it were my land, I would do X. If it were my land, I would do Y. That's great. Get the money together and buy them. Like, do with your land what you want to. And I totally agree that the zoning comes to the community. And I think the community leaders have it a tougher job to sit here and listen to all of us bicker back and forth and take things personal that shouldn't be taken personally, and put it on Facebook and attack people and things like that for having a different opinion. Carol's exactly right. Every one of us are entitled to our own opinion. We can all have our opinion, and the only reason we're here is to put that in front of the people that we have elected to steward our community the best way. In my opinion, that would be this. In someone else's opinion, it may be something different.
Okay.
I completely agree about the zoning and do what you want with your land. I completely agree with that. I think the whataboutism, and if this was your land, a lot of that was propagated on Facebook by friends and family of these sellers who say we're all behaving like we wouldn't do that. I don't think anyone in here has sat down and intentionally been like, I wouldn't do that, that's terrible, that's horrible. The comment came up from the origins of the friends and the family of the sellers. It's not been an organic conversation. So that's just a bunch of whataboutism. The zoning situation, I'm gonna speak personally. This particular site is 300 feet from my mother's back door, and I would rather a hog farm or cattle or a multi-purpose, multi-use apartment building and shops over a data center that has not been proven to be safe.
repeatedly, and there is data to support that. So no, I don't care if the walls and the servers sell your heart out. If you're not content here, please sell. I encourage you to find somewhere you want to be. Sell it to a developer that's gonna put houses or mixed use or something. We don't care about that. The concern we have is when there is gonna be something that could potentially cause health concerns, environmental concerns, 300 feet from my mother's back door. Okay, that is my concern.
Here.
Call for the question.
Is there an actual impact study that has no bias to it for this data center so that the group can make an informed decision?
We've done the research.
I knew you were gonna say that, but in my mind, for such a grave issue
Yes.
that has such everyone's attention, you know, you see the signs on everyone's yard, no data center. Why can't, is that too much to ask for an impact study?
It's
Jones
financial.
County, you're asking the wrong group.
I know, but the meeting, about a month ago, retired school teacher, correct? Sorry for pointing,
Yes.
meaning to put you
Well,
on the
there's a
spot.
lot, there's a
She
lot of
asked
studies
you,
out here.
she said it was very important for you to represent us to the county. And part of that is collecting a know-you-know-what actual impact.
Did you hear what I told you about Rural Fest? I had 3,500 people come, and I had one person that was against the data center that approached me.
For
Did
the
you ask me,
$34.99?
has anybody asked me the
I
question?
don't see,
Did you haven't
all
asked,
respect for you, Mayor, that is going off topic.
but how many people do you think that is in this town that is for it?
Is an impact study being submitted to the county that we could get our hands on?
That I can't tell you, because it's going before the county planning board. You remember a year and a half ago, most of a lot of people in this room, was in the same room, that did not want the town to be involved outside of our limits. Now, you know, I don't want to say I told you so, but I even said at that meeting, this town is going to grow. And I know some of you don't like the way I say things, but I'm telling you, you've seen Greensboro, you've seen Kernersville, you see a highway down here and a major highway over here and major work being done here. Rural Hall is going to grow, whether it's in this town limits or outside of this. That over there, and I cannot tell you, you're going before the county planning board, and the planning board is going to make that decision, and they're going to do their studies. The planning board is not going to just say, oh, I think we need to pass it. I don't believe that no more than I'm sitting on the floor there. But
Mayor,
yes,
if you hadn't overreached in that annexation plan, you could have that land annexed right now and you'd be in control of it, instead of Forsyth County.
no, I
But
didn't.
you overreached, that
No,
was
I'm gonna correct you just a minute. We never had an annexation meeting. We had an informational meeting to see, well, that's last because Facebook decided to make it something else.
You overreached. If you had not, you could have owned that property per se and been drawing tax dollars off of it. But you didn't. You annexed where you had control of the wall house and farm.
We didn't
But you didn't go
have,
back to the land that they were building on, and you would control that now.
well,
You
you're wrong.
overreached, and
I'm
that's why we
gonna
complain.
tell you, you're wrong
Allow me
there.
to interject here if I may. I stood right back there at one of those informational meetings, speaking to the owners of that property.
I'm not talking about the wall farm. I'm talking about when you tried to come and get annexed
Well, that was part of.
people for miles and
part of
farms
the
and
area
tobacco
that was
patches.
talked
That's
about.
what you went after.
And they
Let her talk, let her make her point, sir, and then you can talk.
Hey.
You came all the way down, you wanted to come all the way down into Stokes County. We would not have fought you, is what I'm
No,
trying to say.
you're wrong. We weren't ever going into Stokes County. That was made perfectly clear. Okay, go
It
ahead.
was,
It
it
was.
was clear after we fought you on it.
No, it wasn't. We never were, we made it perfectly clear we were not
You
crossing
wanted
county line.
anyone who was in a fire district service area, which included my house in Germanton and in Stokes County.
You must have
wanted
missed
all
those first
property.
two meetings. I'm not going there because I know what was said.
But you can't blame us.
I'm not blaming you. What am I blaming? I'm not blaming anyone.
But my point, if I may finish,
Please.
they weren't the only ones that I had this discussion with. I think each one of you that attended some of those meetings probably heard it. Under no circumstances, no amount of money will we ever sell that land because it's been in our family for hundreds of years.
So you went on a promise?
If you promise to me, then yes, that would be a promise. That's what they told me, face to face. That's what we heard out of several people. Of course, if I was presented that kind of money, I'd probably sell my property too. But that's what they said, so that's kind of where it took us, that we couldn't have any further discussions as to how it might have benefited the town of Rural Hall to consider looking at what.
I just think I told you so is the wrong response.
Well, and
When you overreach, and you know, Ron Nyland mentioned it.
do you know why we went to that route? I'm just gonna question you. Why did we take that route to start with?
Because you get a lot of tax dollars with zero services. Oh, let me finish. Because there are no people on most of that property. You want tax money for 500 acres of farmland and service one house to pick up trash. That's
Okay,
why.
all right, now I'll go ahead and tell you the reason. Have you ever seen the map of Rural Hall?
Yes, sir. I
Have you seen the fire district?
Yes, I have.
That, it was made perfectly clear that we did not redraw the fire district lines. We wanted to reach out, get feedback. We knew we weren't, I even made the comment in about the third meeting, we weren't coming to, Germantown.
Actually, that was the last one. You called my name on the back road and said, I'm
but-
not coming to Germantown.
The intent was not to spend a fortune with having redrawn maps unless we found the intent. We found out that people across the road or down on Circle Drive, they didn't want to be in this town limits. So we saved a lot of money by not redrawing the maps and going after it that way. That's the reason actually the reason we did it. Now, did it work out that way? No, it got missed. And I ain't gonna say whose fault that was. Maybe it's our fault, the way it was presented. But the intent was to get information and find out who might be interested in getting annexed. And believe it or not, there's a lot of people on Stownville Drive that would love to have been in this town. And they still called to see if they get it. Unfortunately, is we'd have to jump across a lot of people that didn't, so.
I think my point is that if you'll just go after the things that you need
Mhm.
in this town, instead of going after things that you don't need, when you overreach, we fall.
Okay, I mean, that's
You
fair
will
enough,
have-
that's fair
I'm
enough,
just saying, if you had,
that's fair enough.
okay, and I appreciate you letting me speak.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Okay.
I'm agreeing with a lot of people. I mean, I'm not here to argue that you're not right or wrong, I just have opinions, y'all have one. Let me go with someone different here, Carol.
I don't know the gentleman that was here in the hat, but I agree with him. I am for the data center. I do believe that it will help the revenue that you've talked about, needing and wanting more policemen and other things like that. I believe you should trust the process with the county planning commission, that they will put a barrier between your mother's front door and the building. And I think you should trust the process, and you should also allow people to sell their property. Like the lady behind me said, you know, you do have a right to what you own.
You're exactly right. And do you want it in your backyard?
I would want to.
Would you
go
like to buy
through
her
the
house?
Process.
Would you like to buy her house?
I don't know where her house is, I don't know.
Lake
I
Street,
want
no
to.
problem, 300 feet from your back door would be great, right?
Right,
Okay, sounds like a plan. We gotta buy her.
okay.
I'll hit you back.
There you go. I would like to address your concern, about the health impact and environmental impacts. Yes, the rural hall's not in charge of that, unfortunately. The developers would be the ones who would have to come out of pocket for those things, and they're not going to. They're just not going to come out of pocket for those. So we have nothing else to go off of other than data centers of equivalent size all around the country.
So how can you trust, like, even non-information coming your way? That is ridiculous. Do you make decisions, important decisions in your lifetime on no information?
Based on data of what's already there, yeah.
Please do your due diligence, all right? Have an impact study that's unbiased, that we can all look at. Please.
Has anyone seen the latest drawings and everything? You've kept up with the latest plans or the ones that's gonna be presented, okay? You have seen that, and there's a steering committee, I've talked to some on that, I have, actually, the plans have been reviewed to me, and I'm gonna tell you, and from looking at those plans, does any of them, you know, it's a multi-use property, the way it was set up, you know, somewhere, did anyone catch on that, you know, we were talking about the churches and how close it's gonna be to the graveyards and all that? Have you looked at it, that there's a 17-acre park right across the road? You know how big 17 acres is? Covington Park is 6 acres, it's twice as big as Covington Park, that would border some of the areas. I will have to say, I've looked at their, some of the stuff that's back from the steering committee and some of the meetings, and it looks like a lot of the stuff that they've addressed have been either looking into or going to address.
I'm on the steering committee and he puts words in our mouth, I'll just tell you that.
Mr. Bennett.
He says we'll
Yeah.
look into it, that's my understanding.
The drawings in the park, that you, per se, you know why they have a park there, right? Because they were gonna build building 2 in the original draft, right there, but they couldn't because they were 2 streams.
Yeah, yeah.
Environmentally, so,
Environmentally,
out of the goodness of their heart, applied this park. And to be honest with you, I live in Rural Hall. I live in the old city, or the town mayors, or the town, what was she? Town manager. I bought her house
Oh,
during all that fiasco. So I'm fairly new, it's about 4.5 years, almost 5 years now. My house, my property line is right there. I'm adjacent right there to this. And I am not against data centers if they're in the right place. This is over 1 million square feet. I did my research and I looked into it. It's gonna have a major impact to residents in Rural Hall. Period. It is, and I have been a resident here, like I said, for almost 5 years. I've never gone to a Rural Fest, so you wouldn't see me coming up to you, and I wouldn't have addressed you anyways, because you are the mayor, and you don't, it's the county. So I would not have told you that I'm against it. Okay, you're gonna get people out there that are against it, period.
I have signatures from Rural Fest.
So my point is that it impacts us, and I hope you understand that the noise, the nonstop, it's not that it's just gonna be, 8 to 5 or 7 to 3, it's gonna be nonstop. And based on what Montrose had said with the decibel reading, it's gonna be loud, nonstop. I'm gonna go out in my backyard or my side yard or my front door, and it's gonna impact me. And at nighttime, you can put the lights down at a certain angle, it's gonna glow. You know, right now, if you probably haven't been on Serena Drive in a while, maybe you should drive out there and take a look.
Actually, I've circled every bit of this property.
No, I didn't say you haven't. I'm just saying, recently, after this meeting, when it gets, go out there, take a look, listen. And it's gonna be a major impact. And I don't get involved with politics, you know, I probably disagree, I guarantee you I disagree with half of these people in my politics. But when you get people from both sides together on a main issue, there's an issue, there's a problem, you know, and it affects everybody. And before we rezone, again, like I said, data center in the proper location, I get it, we have to, you know, that's technology. But you can't put it and rezone residential around established neighborhoods that have been here for decades.
Yeah.
And it's gonna impact us, okay, I really hope that you
And I will
If I was
be quite
5 miles away, I probably wouldn't affect me as much, right? But
I'd
it
be honest
affects
with
people
you,
around us.
Circle Drive, I feel for Tobacco Road and Circle Drive, those are the two areas, those are the two,
Glade Street.
It's gonna
and
go
Glade
much further
Street.
than that. No,
But you
I
got
understand.
your industrial park, I understand why that's being requested to be rezoned, because the data centers have to meet certain criteria, and that farm over there meets a lot of that, I mean, based on what they have to meet. I'm not saying, I'm not here to say, any of you are wrong. Everybody has their different opinions. You know, I was, kind of thrown under the bus, and I'm gonna ask this question because, week before last, I made another road trip. I am now up to 5 data centers I've visited that I've actually laid my eyes on. And I've asked everybody in this room, you know, I said, you know, everything's rumors unless I go and somebody gives me some facts. I've only been to one data center that I actually heard from where I was sitting. And every one of them I was as close to as,
How large?
very large. One,
Well,
one an
you're
RTP.
saying very large. If you went, took the time to do that research, what size were they?
How many megawatts?
Yes. Well, how many?
I went because somebody, I've been told, I'm gonna come out on my back patio and the ground's gonna vibrate. I actually visited these places to see if I vibrated when I went there. Now, I did also, and some of you in this room, I said at Rural Fest, if you come by over at Rural Fest and come to see me, you know, you said you wouldn't approach me, but I invited some people in this room, come to see me, because there will be someone that actually goes in and out of a data center. It's called IBM in RTP. That goes in and out of that. They can answer questions of what that one is. And no one approached me. And there was someone there that actually goes in and replaces the servers and stuff. And I like to see with my own eyes. I went to Spartanburg. When you say how big, if I get out and I look down the building, I gotta get in my car to drive to the other end. It's big. It's way bigger than these buildings. Now, what's inside, I have no clue. There are AI centers, I do know that. I know what I can look, I didn't even look it up to see what's in there, other than their servers. Because I wanted to see if I heard them, and I wanted to see if I felt them. And I just didn't. Now, that's my own personal, trip that I made. You know,
And how
that's all I
close
can
were
say.
homes?
Do what?
How close were the homes?
The IBM Center is in an industrial park right next to a development down there. It's actually a lot of, it looked like a lot of condos and stuff. How close? Probably wouldn't no further than here to the Wall House over there. Now, it's, I didn't know it was that close to I've got a building in Durham. It was 4.2 miles from my building. I never knew it was there until I started looking this stuff up. Carol, I want to go.
Longer though.
You waited longer than
I think.
Then
Am I okay to pick?
Okay.
I've got multi. With the annexation, you said because it was cheaper by not redrawing the map using the suburban 5. Would it have cost over $14,000 to do another map?
Probably, so I know where you're coming on, but,
So the last-
well, if it had redrawn, it wouldn't have been $14,000 savings, it might have been $5,000, because we're still gonna bail out. But yes,
Can I
it
say
would be.
what I was
savings.
gonna say before the lady in the pink leaves?
And I have one more, yeah.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
I would like to say something, I'm sorry, Carol, but you said something about, to Amber here, about there being, hopefully they'll put a wall and all this. I'm gonna tell you something that they can't do, that they can't provide for us. One of them is gonna be the environment issues, but if you come on my side of town, that the mayor didn't address, but it's gonna butt up against Broad Street. Do you know what sits over on Broad Street? About 900,000 gallons of butane, because the railroad brought that butane in. And they're gonna put the substation on top of it. There's already a substation there. That road is small, and they've already had a scare where they pulled down the power lines, and there was a small fire over there. Now, all it's gonna take is for something to catch fire. That's gonna blow, the data center's gonna blow, the substations are gonna blow. They can't protect us from that. And it will radiate far enough away that the firehouse won't be there anymore. Like, if it happens, my house sits across the street, I won't be able to say anything to you next day, cause I won't be here no more. So I don't know how close you live, but you could have, from what I have read, from what mathematics say, the fireball itself would be about a mile out. So that, they can't protect us from those kinds of things.
And that finish now. So Mayor, you mentioned going to the Sierras One data center in Durham. That takes up just under 10 acres total for that data center. That's the one you said that just went on and on and on. This one will take up approximately 30 acres if they do the 3 buildings.
3 buildings.
So
Yeah, it's about the
three
same.
times of that one that goes on and on and on, sitting over there. Not an appropriate way.
Hi, Mr. Mayor, Rob Yoder here. We've had a couple of residents talk about financial benefit to the town should the data center go in, but it's outside the town's limits. Is there any tax revenue expected from the data center? Well, what is the financial impact to the town other than just a couple people might have jobs?
Good question. With the town just getting, getting away from the county on the fire tax, absolutely none on that. And it's just like, don't even know how to say this, because like I said, everything gets turned around quiet. You know, Montrose and Drox, Michael Vest and the guy with Drox, they have met a couple of times, and when they're meeting with this steering committee, asking for a lot of opinions. You know, the town's out to get nothing. Or they out to, it depends on.
I mean, it would be out of the goodness of their heart if they did.
How you work with them.
Yeah.
It's just like anything else.
But nothing obligated for them to pay the town or any kind of tax
There's
revenue?
not any obligations right now. I think in the, in some of the talks there probably could have been. When I say they could have been, there probably could be some things written in there that wasn't in contingency of the zoning and stuff. I think if it had been worked out, and it's still, I'm not saying it's not, because somebody says, well, you know, we passed a resolution saying, bam, we don't want you, don't want nothing to do with you, basically.
Right.
I personally would have never voted for that. And the reason I wouldn't is because I like to leave options. What are you gonna do if it does come over there? I like to have options. I'd like to say, well, if you do come, okay, but I don't know if we throw all them options away or not. I can't say that. If we did not, you know, I'd love to see it annexed. If it was annexed into the town, you know, I've heard people say, well, there's no tax revenue from the data center. Well, I can tell you the property has a tax value on it, and we would get taxed on that property. I don't know what the value would be, but until it was built, you'd get taxed on that.
Well, there was never any, you're saying we wouldn't even require money for it. It makes no sense for a business or even the owners to really annex into, to pay more taxes.
Right.
They're not gonna do that when you look at that large property. So we were never gonna get that. Never. There is no benefit for them. It's not, as a business, it's not smart business. They're not gonna do it out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah, well, you know, we could.
That's my opinion.
And my opinion is that, they're, and just like that, park over there. Have you sat and talked? And there was, they didn't have to throw that in there. They couldn't put the building up there, like you said, that could just been a pile of dirt.
It was gonna be natural.
It was going to be just natural, but they've come back in and said it could be used as a park. And I asked a point blank question, if we put a walkway around there and gazebos over there, am I gonna be able to sit there without my food vibrating off the table? I asked that point blank question.
And of course they're gonna say, well.
Exactly.
You
And
won't even hear it.
What did they say?
they said,
What was
yeah,
your answer?
they said I could,
Oh, oh.
yeah.
Oh, so they said that you could, it would be your money.
I would, no, you would be able to sit over there and enjoy it.
Okay.
Hello, sir. I'm Robin McGurkin Smith, and the IBM facility, I just looked it up, and it's a 15 megawatt facility. The one that's proposed over here is 300 to 400 megawatt facility. So you're kind of, well, you are comparing apples to oranges.
Right.
You cannot, I mean, it's completely different. If you want to go see one that is actually, maybe go to Loudoun County, Virginia, or somewhere like that, where they actually have data centers of this size.
Yeah. And the thing about it, and I've done my research on the ones in Virginia, you know, there's been so much technology change in the last 5 years. You do know, and like I said, y'all went to more of these Montrose meetings than I do. You see what kind of water system they're using, what kind of insulation system. And I have to look at, like I said, the county planning board and the county commissioners, it's got to look at the, they're not going to just pass something that they feel that they're being just pulled off the top of their head. Oh, okay.
Hello. I'm on the steering committee, so when you say that the steering committee said that we could put a park down there, Montrose has put words in our mouth. They know that nothing can go there, so they make it sound better as to, okay, well, let's just make it, we said natural area. If it's going to be something, leave it just trees as a buffer. And then also, I've mentioned this before, but when I asked Michael from Montrose what his biggest concern was if it was in his backyard, he said noise. He said, it's, you know, they're loud. It's not, my biggest concern will be noise, and I would be sitting in your seat fighting it out of my backyard too. So that tells me that I wouldn't be sitting at a picnic table eating my watermelon and enjoying a Saturday afternoon, because it's gonna be loud. The developer specifically said that.
Well,
And it's not in
and
the
I forgot how many, and like I said, I've got plans laying in there on the table. I forgot how many feet, how many acres there's gonna be, buffered land before you get to that building. So I'd have to look at that. It's like I said, you're on the steering committee, y'all have asked good questions. I've looked at, I'm gonna move around here, so but y'all have asked good questions, and I appreciate that. And if I lived on Circle Drive or any of the streets around there, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't want it in my door either.
Yeah.
But,
it's just very scary when, I have a daughter that suffers from asthma, so my biggest concern in these meetings have been what's the emissions, in particular to the air. And Michael's response is, well, I don't even know Forsyth County's air quality standards, so I would have to do more research and more homework to give you more information. So when you're trying to put a guinea pig in our backyard, you know, we have every right to try to fight it off.
but if you'll look up on some stuff, and I've pulled up some stuff, and you know, and I hate doing this because when you say AI, that means you use AI you're sitting here fighting against AI.
Well, like we said, we're not against it, we're just against it.
Right, against where it's at. But what, some of the things that come up that you know, radiation, that was, there's been nothing determined, in a lot of research, there's no that says any radiation, harmful radiation.
Yeah, no one in this
Who
group.
said there was?
Um,
Whoever said there was radiation?
Oh, I got a voicemail, said, somebody called and asked me, said, it's gonna be radiation, it's gonna kill us.
We haven't talked about radiation, though, we've been talking about what the DC.
Well, I'm going on some of the comments I get from the citizens, you know, we're gonna die from radiation. Some of the stuff, is it gonna take a lot of water? Well, you've said in there, you know what kind of recycling system it's gonna use, the least amount of water probably that any data
Michael's trying
center's
to make
been
it sound
built.
better by saying we're gonna use closed loop system, but when even Michael said this with his own words, is that closed loop uses more chemicals. So when it does the blowdown to clean out the, rust and everything else that you put in there, that it puts a sweet smell / taste on the ground like antifreeze. So therefore, it goes back into the ground bad for the animals, and also goes back into our streams and creeks. Michael said that.
I think what really matters is what Amy said, what Edie said a while ago about her living so close. And she said the train tracks over here bring in ethanol.
Yes.
That is it right there. That's why it should not be here. I mean, everything else don't really matter no more. What she said matters. And what she said about the ethanol being there and it catching on fire, we all gonna be gone. So everybody should think about that. And that's just the way I feel. We gone, come on. That's it. Eve said the word. Remember Adam and Eve.
Yeah, where did the buyers go? Where were people that wanted to buy my houses?
That was gonna buy my house.
Oh, darn.
That was, yeah.
And the fireball.
I think it's really important that we have to study a lot of information, okay? And, if you do some studies, and I sent studies out about, you know, the guy the PhD who had studied the health risk from the data centers. And you know, this is an educated person that we're talking about. We're not talking about somebody who's not educated. If you have a PhD, you're smart. And you know, there's a lot that's coming out about this. And we have to realize that we have to guard against that because it is so close to the homes that are in Rural Hall. They're right here at us, you know. And so it's important that we do that. You can't just ignore that and say, oh no, you know, this is not gonna have an effect. So you have to look at that. And this is a type of industry that is more, it's heavy industry. It needs to be placed in a place that is suited to that.
Yes.
And it doesn't have anything to deal with, you know, the people selling the property and all that. We understand all that. It needs to go in the correct location. And that's something that is important. We have to realize that. It has nothing to do with anything else. Is where does this need to go to be effective? And then you need to ask yourself, is all of that the right thing to do? Because all across the country, these data centers are having a lot of issues. And the police are gonna be very important. We're gonna need the police. Because when people come to town that we don't know, you know, all these workers and all these changes that can happen, who's gonna protect us? We're not gonna be worried about the speeding ticket. That's gonna be the least thing on our mind. We're gonna be worried about
traffic.
Mr. Policeman, are you keeping us protected? How about these little children out here playing? You know? Or one of them gets outside or something like that. You gotta think about these kind of things. But the important thing is the data center needs to go in a location that is for this industry department. So, we really need to take a look at a lot of things in a calm manner, in the right manner, and we need to do these studies and know what is the best thing to do. It is our town, the garden spot of all things. Who would have ever thought that this would happen in Rural Hall? So, that's just my opinion, for what it's worth.
That was probably the least expected thing that I heard when the data center was coming out, we'll be honest with you, especially after Stokes County. But, everybody's got their opinions, and everybody reads their own kind of reports. I mean, I've got handfuls of reports that says why data centers are not as bad as you think. And I won't even get into that because most of you wouldn't want to hear that anyway. But it depends on where you read and where you get it from. And when you, and I will say, I've received a lot of stuff. But if I open it up and it's a study from 10 years ago, 6 years ago, I just throw it away because in 5 years, things change totally. Right. So these reports, and I've cautioned people to just, when you're looking at the stuff, look at the date when that report was wrote. Virginia is totally different than, it's just like with the power. Power was a big issue because it's gonna cost us so much money, they're gonna cause us our rates to go up. Well, that's not gonna happen in North Carolina, but in Virginia it does. Because Virginia doesn't have a North Carolina commission that sets the residential rates. When infrastructure comes in, they can charge for the infrastructure. So I just caution to read, but when people have different opinions, and I agree with everything everybody said, that everybody's got a different opinion, and if they're reading and researching, then I'm not gonna say they're wrong, because I haven't read what they've read yet. And I've read some, and I think you've sent me that, I've read that. I've got several things here, it's been sent to me. So that's what I'm saying, it's whatever, everybody's got their own opinion, and that's where we go.
The data centers you listed in Raleigh, Durham, close to where I worked when I had to go to the office. The Crius one was built in 2013, the other one was also built in 2013, so more than 10 years, so same as your data. The second one you mentioned was remodeled in 2013 with an addition.
Okay.
So
they're older ones.
So nothing like what this will be like.
See, I would think with older ones would be more out of date than this.
No, Durham actually made sure, because being a more progressive, environmentally responsive community, those data centers were on a closed loop even in 2013, and very different even what a closed loop is now, because of the protections and how they were. So research that.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask a non-data center question.
Oh, great.
I know earlier you made a statement that Rural Hall is growing, and so I was just wanting to know, are there any plans, do you have any plans, any ideas of trying to bring more shops or any community centers to Rural Hall for the community? Ways of building the community outside of the data center.
First of all, Rural Hall is not growing. Rural Hall is going to grow. We've got, what I was saying is, we've got a new intersection down here, a new intersection over here. Whether we like it or not, we're going to grow. Now, the town itself, there's pretty much not any room to grow. Our town is very small. Our town limits, there's not much room for growth. If you wanted to build a house right now, you're lucky to find a lot available. Am I halfway correct?
No, you're quite correct.
Okay. The only way this town's gonna grow is expand out. And I think I heard community center. Yes, community center's already in the works. It's down, right down at
Clemens?
Not Clemens, Blue Compass. It's the old Lions Club property. It's about 6 acres. It was donated to us 15 years ago. It can only be used by the town for community type building. And it's already, that is
It's under
earmarked for
construction.
that. It's earmarked. We only need probably $10-12 million to finish it.
This is not data center, if I may. You had a meeting with the J.C.'s last week?
Yes.
Did we have attendance?
Actually, it was great. I'm glad you brought that up. The J.C. showed up at Rural Fest. They ran a beer garden. I think there was 23 volunteers came from all across the state, from Greenville, North Carolina, Wilmington, Raleigh, everywhere, Spencer. They came up, and the whole intent is to start a new civic club, the J.C.'s, which is a young person's organization between 18 and 40. Right now, we're sitting with about 6 checks in hand to charter a chapter. Minimum is 10. I don't like to see a chapter started with 10. I'd rather see them get up a little bit more. But we had an informational meeting last Thursday. It was well attended.
How many attended?
Oh, God, I didn't count. God, we had people from, and the way the J.C.'s work, your other J.C.'s and chapters mentor them. And, I can't tell, hey, I was looking for somebody who was here, because some of them I just saw was here. Probably about 25, 26, counting the mentors.
Are they mentors, what?
That's what I 5 or 6 potential. The mentors, is from Greenville, Clayton, Spencer. You were here.
Yep.
Am I correct? About 25 or so, you know?
Correct.
Winston-Salem, Davison County is where they come in. So we got a good group that's coming in. Hopefully, we're still working on that kind of, moving forward on that. And hopefully have something in the next month or so.
I hate to sound like a broken record or be so redundant, but the county should provide an impact study to these citizens of this town.
Okay. Have you contacted your commissioners or anything?
I emailed the county commissioner, Mr. Martin, about 2 months ago about traffic. I didn't even mention the data center. His response was, I'm paraphrasing here, forgive me. He brought up the data center. I didn't even bring up the data center in my email to him. So I was scratching my head later as to why he brought it up. They're consumed by it down there. My property tax doubled this year.
Yeah.
Why? So they could cover their school budget deficit, which they have by now, and I can't get an impact study? I'm being taxed and not represented. And that's all I have to say. On that note.
That's why I spoke my piece.
No, I'm saying something different, okay? Thank you very much. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the planning committee will find out, that's part of their job is impact studies. So if you want to build a Taco Bell and put it on this location, or if you want to build a data center, they have to see the impact studies.
Well, they can.
and the traffic.
No, they are basically looking, so the plan, it's solely zoning, and that's really all they care about. They're not gonna do impact studies, they only care about the things that affect zoning
So
regulations.
they don't do any traffic studies
No.
or?
No.
They've said multiple times.
That explains why there's 3 car washes down here where people crash into each other.
They are only allowed to evaluate the property borders itself and whether the property's planned usage meets the zoning requirements.
Right,
I'm really surprised.
The commissioners,
and they also don't make decisions, they only make recommendations.
Right, right.
They're not making a decision on it, the end result of their meeting is we recommend or we don't recommend, and that's it. And so that really all falls on the commissioners. Now, the commissioners, of course, the commissioners can ask for whatever they want, but obviously they have to deal with whatever budgets they have for such things.
Yeah.
So,
And I've heard it, and there's a lot of truth to that, you know, you look at Forsyth County, whether you wanna look at that or not, Forsyth County is in some, well, school system, in one heck of a mess, as far as money wise, and then you got the sheriff's department, who's, money wise. It turns into, yeah, where are you gonna get some tax dollars? I hate to say that unless there's some big reasons that, that keep it out, and your opinions is gonna make a difference, I think. It is an election year, how we've been, told about that, but, you know, Rural Hall is normally, one of the smallest turnouts for elections, and I'm not sure it would affect any of the county commissioners that will run. That's my personal opinion.
So as a municipal, do we go to county commissioners and make asks for our municipal? Like the mayor and the council?
And that's a good question. I represent the majority of the town list people. Am I gonna go for the county, the planning board and speak on behalf of the county? No. I've made that decision. I cannot speak for this side or that, because if I speak for this side, what you say, I don't speak for the other. I can tell you, I've spoke to more people that either it doesn't matter, and I know you don't like hearing this, it either doesn't matter or they think it should because of the tax benefits it would get. Now, as I say that in this room tonight, obviously I'm talking to more people that's against it. But I don't know what has happened. Carol, you might tell me. I'll call the first big meeting of the data center. Couldn't get everybody in here. I was slammed because I got too small a building. I wasn't planning. It was just a called meeting so everybody could come. I didn't plan out of the blues this and that. There were 16 that wasn't able to get inside that night. I don't know what, you can tell me what's happened. The crowds have gone down. I think, why?
Decisions cannot be made here. The data center is sitting
Exactly.
on Forsyth County land.
Exactly.
And they're the only ones that can make the decision.
Yes.
So I don't personally see any point in somebody even pushing you because you can't affect a decision.
Well,
But it's
you're
not
the-
just
you're,
they're not
you're the one that, the first one that said that.
he doesn't have control over it.
It's Forsyth County
He
will
doesn't.
make the decision.
Yes.
And so, yes, you should definitely make
But
your
I-
voice heard to
Yeah,
the commission.
I feel like everybody should, and to me, I feel like him, Mr. Bennett being our mayor, it looks bigger if he goes.
We made that argument too.
As
Yeah.
well as
Yeah.
us, because it makes more president. Because me, I'm an educator, and whenever I go to the board and make my plea, the committees that I'm on, we all are together. We are a united front.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if it's Democrat, Republican,
Exactly.
or unaffiliated.
Yeah.
Everybody's there making their stance. And it doesn't matter
That's why I
whether
think-
you're for or against.
That's
You're
why we only
standing
had
for
one
the people.
person talk to him, because that same Roll Fest, I have so many signatures of people who signed the petition that, I mean, they were serious, and I had to turn people away that were in other counties that also disagree with it. So he had one person, but that one person didn't know he has no control over it. So that's why I only have one person.
Yeah.
But I agree. I would think you would want to go represent, but I know as a politician, I'll walk that fine line. You ain't gonna step on either side.
And it's not a stepping on, it is, because, I represent the whole town, and, if this room, if I was seeing that there was 130 people came every night and I didn't see anybody else coming out, the last meeting, I would almost say we had as many here for as there was against. And there's been a lot of people that was at that meeting, the very first one that was for, that just didn't say anything. So and I know people, my mornings is spent from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock on the phone, talking to numerous people. And some are against it and some are not. And a lot of them that are against it do not that I get calls from, do not live in the town limits of Rural Hall that are expecting me to represent them. And
Exactly, and let me say, that's the beautiful part. Forsyth County is bigger overall.
Forsyth County?
Yes.
And we're part of Forsyth County, right?
Exactly, and they are turning out, and they will be present there at City Hall,
Yes.
speaking as well.
But not Rural Hall. Where's coming?
Rural Hall is kind of, so I learned, it's very close-knit, and
It's the good old boy
this
system.
family particularly has a lot of allies, a lot of plants everywhere, and a lot of friends, hence the audience over here. I guarantee every single one of them was implanted with that family in some way, because they have something to gain from that. So the beautiful part is Forsyth County is kind of far, removed from that. The rest of the county is. So that's what we're doing.
So my goal coming here tonight was to learn and to meet people and just understand. I will editorialize just on one thing, which is, I'm just thinking aloud, if I were this town of Rural Hall, I think John made a really good point that the chances of annexing the data center after it's built, probably pretty low. It might happen, but still probably pretty low. They have no incentive.
Right.
Exactly, I agree with you.
So as a town, I think I would want to see a use for that land that has much more potential for future tax revenue, like the plan, the mixed use plan that the planning board has already created for this area, right? There's much more potential there for you all to annex that as a mixed use development and to get future tax revenue, even though it's not the 20 to 30 million that they throw out there about what the county's going to get. But as a town, I would like to see more chances of actual annexing businesses that could be a benefit to the town.
Yes.
So that's why I would advocate for you all to speak, to the council.
Yeah. And a lot of times I say, what would you want to see? There's one thing for sure we know. The property is for sale. The next thing is, there's gonna be something there. And I'm not sure we're gonna be able, whoever buys the land is gonna make a decision say if this doesn't go through. The land's gonna be sold. We already know is for sale.
The owners said it's going to be sold regardless of going to a data center or not.
No, they haven't told me. I'm reading between the lines.
Okay.
They said it would never be sold.
Right.
And I made the comment last year, everything had a price, except maybe your family.
Apparently 24 million is that price. Yeah.
So now, what was said, we know that it can be bought.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Here is the thing. Be careful what you fight against, because you don't know what you're gonna get. So and are we gonna have a choice of what goes over there?
If there's a rezoning, then yes, we have a voice in that.
Yeah. But here's the thing, would you rather, and I know with this group, I can tell you, and you do know that if they don't get the power, that's not gonna be 3 buildings, it could be 2 buildings. Or it could only be 1 building over there, depending on how much power Duke Power gets them. It could be down as low as 1 building there.
But we don't see data centers shrinking. We see data centers zoning to a certain size and then just sliding into more.
But everything is dependent on Duke Energy, how much power they get them, because all those servers has gotta have the power. So that depends on how much Duke Energy gets there. Obviously, Duke wants to sell power, so they'll probably get it.
Well, if it's a Duke data center, which we know that they're doing.
It's also dependent on what happens with the AI industry in this country.
Right.
Yes.
And it also is dependent on who's actually gonna be in that facility. And what I will say is, do not be surprised at all if that data center becomes another Dell computer.
And it's destroyed the land.
And then the land
it
is
is
now
very
not
hard to
able to be, the
reclaim
odds
land like
of the actual revenue projections coming are very small. Very small.
Well, to address that, the Dale thing, now they're in this rezoning thing and in their plan, that's addressed.
Well,
What the property would have to be left.
My point is, if it goes with the current zoning, and we're putting in stores and houses and so on, that is predictable, reliable revenue.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
This other stuff is risky.
Speculation market.
And
Even if
community
nothing
building,
blows up with
you don't get that with
utility,
data
it's
centers.
risky. Particularly, this is why so many places in the country, and even in this state, are putting moratoriums on for a year because they wanna study, because they wanna see where this is going. I mean, they're rushing this stuff.
They're trying to figure out too, to be the truth, is where's all this money coming from?
Right.
What
Is
you're
it foreign
seeing,
money?
I keep an eye on the markets in general.
There's a huge circle
And
jerk of
what you're seeing
investment
is
between the AI companies and the chip
investing
makers.
in
That's where a
Anthropic.
lot of it's coming from.
Anthropic invests in Google, and they count, each one of those counts that as revenue.
Right.
So it's you, me, and the
Right.
5 of us in the room giving each other $20.
Exactly.
And saying, look, we made $20.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
So it's a speculative market. I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna, you know.
So.
North Carolina is, you know, they're studying a lot of this. I mean, there's a lot of studies out there.
Right, and there's
it's
been
going
calls
on.
for a moratorium in the
Yeah.
state for that very reason.
Yeah.
Because you just, the thing is, it's very early on, and it's, I mean, yes, everyone, at the county, every county needs more revenue. But to make a bet on something that is, you know, like flipping a coin.
Well, the only sure bet, and only sure bet is what the value of the land is. That's gonna be taxed no matter what. You don't know what, the buildings is gonna have a value. Now, what's in them, that's where the big money is, it's all those servers. And that's the part that you don't know. I mean, if there's no servers, then it doesn't have that big, dollar amount value. But the land's gonna always have a value. That farm's gonna have a value. I'm just, you know, the county right now, I'll call it starter homes, you know, they will, if they can put one house per quarter acre, you know, the question is, be careful what you want and what you don't want. Do you want 300 houses over there? Do you know what the traffic would be on 300 houses? 2.5 per household is what they figure on. So it'd be 700, about 800 vehicles a day coming in and out. Now, and then that would require more officers and all that kind of stuff. So
And is it septic or does it have sewer? Because of course, my property, which is just the other side of it, I'm still septic,
Yeah.
I'm not on sewer.
you got sewer right available right there, and I guarantee you a developer would want to be annexed because they would want benefits
City
and
services, yeah.
services.
Yeah.
So,
But also that land, because of the creeks, the water, it's still, and it's RS20 and RS9, the amount of houses that can be built in that. The RS20 is much smaller amounts on the land. You can't get 300 houses over there with the water stuff.
it's 130 acres, and I was only counting, a lot less than that, because some of the land's not usable, we know. But either way, it could be 200. I'm just throwing a number out there. It's, you know, everybody has their opinion, and I do my studies also. Now, I'm gonna throw it out there. Amanda has, made a comment. Susan, you're recognized as a candidate all the time on the Facebook page. I have never not heard any opinion from you. What is the candidate for mayor's opinion?
I am still learning. I put pros and cons, and I keep reading and studying.
That's a good answer. That's what I try to get by with. They won't let me get by with it.
She just worked the political.
They won't let me get by with it, Susie. I'm sorry.
Oh, you want a sign for your garden?
I have a petition that I have people to sign.
Oh, okay, so I already knew.
It does make it tough in a election year. I mean, as I've said,
It very well does, but I think the thing is, I have been told